serious. It's been a long night, so I'll give you the details as we know them now. We're 16 hours into this investigation. What I will tell you is the best information that we have now. Obviously, as I've mentioned to you before, information may change, and more often than not does change. So what we know right now is at about 6:34 last night, the City of Lakeland Police Department received a phone call that shots were being fired at 1850 Cambridge Cove Circle. That's 1850 Cambridge Cove Circle. The call came in at 6:34. We received multiple phone calls. First officers arrived on the scene at 6:36, 2 minutes later. Once the officers arrived on the scene, they located 4 individuals on the scene in a 2023 Toyota RAV4. They located Jaquez Norton, spell the first name for you, Jaquez Norton, Norton. He was a 3-year-old. He was deceased in the back seat of the RAV4. They located a Robert Enzing, Einzig, Hispanic male, 23 years of age, suffering from a gunshot wound, which was non-life-threatening, in his lower body. They located Yamari, and I'll spell that for you, as Yeimarie, Baez, 21 years of age. She had no injuries. She was the mother of Jaquez Norton, and an infant 3-month-old female who had no injuries. LPD began receiving reports after we arrived at the scene that a white Dodge Challenger was also involved in this event. The Challenger was seen headed towards the scene before the shooting on Kathleen Road, northbound on Kathleen Road, just prior to the shooting, and it was also observed leaving the shooting southbound on Kathleen Road. Around 7 p.m., the police department was also notified that a black male by the name of Kemarius, Kemarius Wilson, 22, was taken to Lakeland Regional Health by a civilian vehicle and was dropped off in the Sally Port, and he was also declared deceased. This is what we know so far. Baez, Enzing, and the children were at Cambridge Cove to visit a friend. While attempting to drive out of the complex, the white Challenger that I spoke of before approached head-on and blocked them from leaving. Baez, who was driving, is the female. Enzing was in the front passenger seat of the RAV4. The infant was in the middle seat, in the back middle seat, and the 3-year-old homicide victim was in the rear passenger seat. Wilson got out of the Kemarius Wilson, who was our deceased male that's at Lakeland Regional, got out of the passenger side of the Challenger, the white Challenger, with a handgun and approached the driver's side of the Toyota RAV4, where Baez was sitting behind the driver's wheel. Another unidentified male got out of the driver's side of the Challenger with a rifle and approached Enzing on the passenger side of the RAV4. Enzing, the male that was in the RAV4, was also armed with a rifle and a handgun. At some point, words were exchanged and gunshots followed, and Enzing returned fire with his handgun while Baez fled the vehicle after grabbing the 3-month-old from the back seat. Both males ran back to the Challenger and left the scene, as I said before, southbound on Kathleen Road. The Challenger then, we have determined, drove back to the 800 block of West 14th Street to a relative of Wilson's, where Wilson was placed into a private vehicle and transported to Lakeland Regional, where we were then notified. He was declared deceased at the hospital. The evidence that we have so far is the 2014 Challenger that was then located not in the 800 block of West 14th Street, but it was actually located in the 800 block of West Crawford Street by our patrol units. We didn't receive a phone call from anyone. Patrol officer just happened to be driving through the area, noticed something suspicious sitting between two houses, could see a vehicle because it was covered up, and I'm going to show you a photograph of what the officer saw, and thought that was suspicious, got out, and sure enough, it was the white Challenger that we were looking for. But that was located in the 800 block of West Crawford Street with a black tarp over it. The resident in that address was very cooperative. The vehicle was seized, and it's downstairs in our lab now being processed. The victim's 23 RAV4 is also here at the station being processed. The vehicle was transported Wilson to the hospital. We also seized it. It's also being processed. At the scene, we recovered 19 .223 caliber spent casings and 9 9mm spent casings at the scene. Multiple cell phones have also been seized for downloading and processing, and detectives are canvassing for obviously any video at different multiple locations. So we have the scene at Cambridge Cove, we have the scene on West 14th Street, and we have the scene at West Crawford Street. So we're trying to recover video from all 3 of those scenes. So far, we've served 9 search warrants in the past 16 hours, and we've had about 25 detectives, analysts, and crime scene personnel working throughout the night. Right now, we are searching for 1 additional person. We are looking for the driver of this white Challenger. Everyone see that? It's a 2014 Dodge Challenger. Obviously, the passenger was Camarius Wilson, who was taken to the hospital, and he's no longer with us. With the tarp over it, that's the way the officer found it, sitting between the vehicles, and you can see the front driver's side tire looks like it's shot out. This is what's down in the lab right now. So we need the driver of that vehicle. That's who we're looking for. Anyone knows who was driving that vehicle or can provide that information can contact Detective Corey Lawson with the Lakeland Police Department at 863-834-8975, or if they wish to remain anonymous, certainly they can call Heartland Crime Stoppers at 1-888-400-TIPS. That's 1-888-400-8477, or they can visit their website at heartlandcrimestoppers.com. All right, it's been a long night. We still got some work to do. We're not done with this yet. We've got, as I say, some video to go through, some phones to go through. We're going to locate and identify who the driver of that vehicle was. We're interested in finding him, but this was a horrific night last night. As you can imagine, anytime anyone's killed, but particularly a 3-year-old, was still in the vehicle, it was awful. I feel bad for the parents. My heart goes out to the parents of the 3-year-old, but it also goes out to my officers and detectives that had to work that stuff and see these things, and my crime scene people that see these things. They lose a little bit of their soul as well every time they see something like that, because they have family and kids as well. So you can imagine it was a tough night, and but anyone knows who was driving that white Challenger, we're certainly very interested in that. And with that, I'll take questions.
You said that the Challenger blocked the exit path of the RAV4. Was there a reason behind that? Was this a road rage, or was this the targeted thing that they wanted to stop those particular people from leaving?
Yeah, we feel like they knew each other. We have a really good reason, we think, why. We want to firm that up a little bit, but it wasn't just a random act. They were interested in that vehicle and the people inside of that vehicle.
Can you say at all how they may have known each other?
I don't know specifically. We're going to firm that up in the coming days, but I don't know if it was some sort of a domestic dispute, or there's something else inside that vehicle they were interested in. Yes, ma'am.
Can you state the people in the RAV4, were they from Lakeland here, or are they from another area?
I don't know that. I think they're from the Lakeland area, or the Polk County area, I can say. I didn't ask for the home addresses.
Chief,
Go ahead.
sorry. Obviously, there was a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old in
Right.
this car.
Right.
It was an apartment complex. A lot of people could be walking around. Can you just speak to, the danger that they put so many people in, and then the fact that two babies essentially were caught up in this?
2 small kids, yeah. It's that's another concerning thing for us, is that you have an ongoing gun battle. Not only is rounds being put through the front windshield of the RAV4, but you have rounds coming from inside the RAV4 back at them, and it's 6:30 in the evening, 6:45 in the evening. 6:30 is probably closer to the exact time. Kids are out of school, it's spring break. You don't know, who's going to who's going to get hit with those rounds. Once you launch those rounds, you don't know where they're going. You don't know what they're going to hit. So, yeah, it was an extremely dangerous situation. You're exactly correct. Yes, ma'am.
Does evidence or video tell you, I don't know if you have video of the incident, can you tell if the suspects were intentionally shooting at the children, if they knew the children were in there?
I don't think they knew the children were in the back, even though there's some indication that when the mother exchanged conversations with them as they approached the car, she screamed that my kids are in the car, my kids are in the car. Now, whether Camarius and this other unknown individual heard that, we don't know that. But they were not shooting at the vehicle. I don't think they knew that or if they did, they didn't care, which is also concerning.
You were saying that the driver of the RAV4, so this happened so fast that he didn't even get out of the car, started shooting through the windshield at the Challenger?
No, the driver was the female.
Oh.
The male was the passenger in the RAV4. He actually, I will tell you that when the gentleman approached the passenger side, he actually stuck his rifle in, and there was some sort of a struggle over the rifle. And we think that's probably where a round went off and hit him in the hip. And at some point, the guy was able to get the rifle back and ran around to the front of the RAV4 and started putting rounds through the front windshield. And we have rounds that went through the front windshield, went through the front passenger seat, and that's where they struck the 3-year-old who was sitting in the back seat behind the passenger seat. When you launch those 223 rounds, they will go through windshields, cars, people, and they just continue to go. They are
So the
traveling at a very high rate of speed.
passenger of the RAV4, he's alive,
He is alive.
and then but he returned fire.
He did. He had his own 2 weapons. He had a rifle and a handgun in the car with him.
Did he use both?
He used the handgun.
Is he charged or expected to be charged with it?
Right now, he's not charged with anything.
Are the surviving persons involved in this investigation cooperating?
They are cooperative. I don't know, they're cooperating. They are somewhat cooperative. I'll leave it at that. We're having to work kind of harder than you would think.
Was the driver of the RAV4 the mom?
The driver of the RAV4 was the mother, yes.
Do you think the mother or the passenger was the target?
I don't know that either one of them was I don't know. It could be both. It could be neither. It could have been some sort of domestic thing. We're still trying to flesh through that. So I don't know the proper answer to that question.
And you said that the Challenger was found with a tarp over it.
Yes.
Was it in a garage? Was it at
Parked between 2 houses. If you go in that area, the houses are fairly close together, and it was pulled in between 2 houses with a tarp pulled over the top of it. So.
And you said you talked to the homeowner where the car was?
We did, yes.
And does he know that car?
He does not. He told us he did not know who put the car there or how the car got there.
And you don't have a name, suspected name or identity of that driver of the Challenger at this point, right?
We do not. That's who we're looking for, and we will find out who that is. Trust me, we've received some tips already, and I think we're getting closer and closer as the hours go by. But right now, we don't have a firm location, and we don't know if that guy is actually or girl. I think it's a male. I don't think there's any indication it was a female. May also be suffering a gunshot wound as well. So we don't know that.
Was that Challenger stolen? Do we know that?
It's not. No, it's actually registered to a person in Plant City, and we went out to the house in Plant City, and we haven't contacted that owner as of 3 or 4 hours ago. They weren't home, so we're still trying to. That's one of the other things we're trying to run down. The registered owner. Good
Are you
question.
guys concerned about retaliation in this situation? You got a man that seems to be defending his car, and people dying. It's going to be some animosity.
Yeah, anytime it is a very heated, as you can tell, as you can understand, situation. So yeah, we're always somewhat concerned about that. Other family members, I would encourage them, channel that rage a little bit. Tell us who did it if you know who did it, and you have information who did it. Don't go out and take care of it yourself. You're just going to find yourself going to prison. So let us take care of it. Call us.
What is the mom saying about this whole incident?
We interviewed her last night. She's still pretty shook up. She's still trying to process what happened. Certainly it was a very traumatic scene for her, so I don't want to go into great detail what she was saying. But she did know Camarius, who came to the window. She did not know the other guy.
She wasn't wounded.
She was not wounded, no. She grabbed the 3-month-old and ran. And she knew Camarius, but she didn't know the other. We showed her a couple of photo arrays, and she wasn't able to pick out who the driver of the Challenger was.
Do we know the mother's relationship to the passenger in the RAV4 when you fired that?
We do, I don't think there's any relationship, they may be boyfriend, girlfriend, or just friends, some sort of a friendship. Yeah, they knew each other.
I just want to clear up a few things. Were you releasing the license plate number of the white Dodge Challenger? Is that important?
I think we can release that, yeah, we'll get that to you.
And then there were just two guns involved in this incident, one from the white Challenger and one from the RAV4?
We've recovered 2 weapons, the 2 weapons that were in the RAV4. We have not recovered any of the weapons that were in the Challenger as of yet. We recovered the Challenger. We've done a cursory search of the Challenger after obtaining a search warrant, and we haven't located any weapons. We're interested in the 9mm and possibly a rifle that was being fired from the Challenger.
Okay, so each gentleman had a gun that got out of the Challenger?
Correct. All the males had a weapon. There were 3 males involved. All 3 males had a weapon.
Okay,
The only one that didn't have a weapon was the female.
So the driver and the passenger of the Challenger both got out with
Yes,
guns?
correct. One went to the driver's side, one went to the passenger side.
And they both opened fire?
We know for a fact that the 223 opened fire because we've got the casings on the ground. The 9mm, I don't think we know for sure if Camarius opened fire. Camarius had the 9mm. We don't know if he opened fire or not. We haven't, we're still processing that to find out.
So which guy had the rifle in the Challenger?
The driver of the Challenger who went to the passenger side of the RAV4. And also the passenger of the RAV4 had a rifle and a handgun. He did not fire the rifle, he fired the handgun.
9mm.
Returning fire, 9mm, correct. And those were the 9mm casings that we recovered on the passenger side of the car.
Sorry, one more clarification.
Sure.
In terms of the shots fired, I know you said words were exchanged, shots fired. Who fired first again? Excuse me.
I don't think we know that yet. Yeah.
With the 2 guns that were, you recovered, are they legally registered to the
They are.
hospital?
They're legally owned. He does not have a criminal history. He does not. He had every legal right to own those weapons.
Is there a Crime Stoppers reward for it?
$5,000. Thank you. I should have said that. Yes, thank you. It's $5,000 reward for any tips that lead to the arrest of the driver of the white Challenger. So, right. Get enough? If you guys have any additional questions, we can certainly answer those, and we'll give you any updates if we get them and if we make an arrest. But right now, we're just looking for the one driver of the Challenger. So.
Is there video from the Sally Port?
Video from the Sally Port of.
The hospital where the Challenger dropped off?
Oh, I'm sure it's video. I'm sure we have it. Yes.
Can we have it?
Is this neighborhood typically
No.
a neighborhood where police would respond to? Have you seen crime activity in this area?
I wouldn't say it's a typical I mean, it's just like any other apartment complex. We get our normal loud musics and, things along those lines, but it's not a particularly dangerous neighborhood if I'm understanding your question. It's not anything I would classify as that, so.
What other entities are you guys working with the registered owner of the Challenger being in Plant City?
As far as agencies that we're working along, ATF, we've been in contact with. Polk County Sheriff's Office is helping us out, and FDLE, I believe, and the FBI, so that's helpful. All right, thank you guys, appreciate it. All right. I'll leave that somewhere where you guys can get a better picture of it if you want to get a close-up or whatever.